This is MJ. I love Star Wars, and right now I want to talk about, I was going to say Claudia Gray's Lost Stars, but really I want to talk about her new book, The High Republic, which is called Into the Dark. It's going to be a YA novel, part of Project Luminous, and I've decided to kind of preview different authors from Project Luminous. I recently checked out Cavan Scott's Dooku Jedi Lost, the audio drama. I listened to that, and after listening to that, I decided there were some things I liked and that I was looking forward to his High Republic Marvel Comics series. And I realized that, I didn't realize, I had remembered that Claudia Gray had written a couple YA novels for Star Wars, one which I read and I think reviewed on my other channel, which was Leia, Princess of Alderaan, is that what it was called? And I enjoyed that book, but I remembered that there was one other book that Claudia Gray did that I neglected to check out. Part of Journey to the Force Awakens was Lost Stars, which was cast as a story that would span the original trilogy, and that would, I guess, link to The Force Awakens, and it does and it doesn't, and I'm not here to debate that. What I'm here to talk about is Gray's writing and what I'm, whether or not I'm hopeful for Into the Dark, which is her next title, which is probably already written because it's going to be out in September. Maybe they're editing right now. I don't know. I don't know how long the process for a novel takes. But I will go ahead and give a spoiler-free review of Lost Stars. First of all, Lost Stars was a really good book. You should go you should go buy it. You should read it, listen to it, check it out at the library, do whatever you gotta do to get the story in your head. It is extremely well written. I think I already mentioned that Claudia Gray is one of my favorite new canon authors, and she does not fail to deliver or please with the book that she wrote. One thing, if you like the original series, or the original, this isn't Star Trek, if you like the original trilogy, this does span the original trilogy. If you like the prequels, it touches on the prequels. I'm going to just give a tiny bit of information. The two main characters are from the same planet, and they both joined the Empire. They're both born on Empire Day, much like, what's-his-face, Blueberry, from Star Wars Rebels, and like Luke and Leia. So that's interesting. It's a way that they connect to the characters from the original trilogy who we love, and to me they kind of connect to Rebels, which you can appreciate that or not if you want to. There's even a character from Lothal, and there were some like young Imperial Academy on Lothal books, and there's a character mentioned from there, or rather from Lothal, who went through the Imperial Academy, and I don't know if they were supposed to be from those books or not, but I thought, had I read that, it probably would have been an interesting extra layer of stuff that tied in. So, I was gonna make a dig at something, but that's not what I'm here for. So, anyway, the setup of the characters is interesting. The parallels and connections that they have to, established characters we know is great. However, the book doesn't rely upon you being a longtime Star Wars fan and knowing all these things about the original trilogy. This could even be someone's first Star Wars book, and I think it would be very good. I think there would be an extra sense of tension or ambiguity to everything going on if you didn't know the full context, although I guess once the Death Star is active, that kind of throws a sharp relief or a sharp contrast between what the Rebels are doing and what the Empire is doing. Then again, lots of people never questioned the nobility and goodness of the United States of America after deploying the nuclear bombs on Japan. So I'm just drawing parallels between one empire and another. But anyway, back to Gray's writing. I now accept these characters, Thane and Sienna, as full-fledged Star Wars characters. I know a lot about them so far. I don't know everything there is because their future I'd like to hear more. I'd like to see more adventures from them, because the way this book worked, it was similar to Cavan Scott's Dooku Lost, where it jumped from time period to time period in these people's lives, and it, covered different incidents or episodes, and used all of those to weave one overall story. I honestly preferred the way Gray did it. I don't know if it was because it was a audio book being read by one narrator, or if it was because I had some issues with the audio drama aspect of Dooku Jedi Lost. There seemed to be a lack of flow, maybe a lack of cohesion, and none of that was here. And I don't mean to highlight what she did well by pointing out what he did maybe not so well, or how that production suffered, but just there was an effectiveness to Gray's similar storytelling, where it jumped from time period to time period in these people's lives, but I felt like it told a much more effective story, and I don't know, it was much more compelling and easier to stick with everybody. So that was kind of interesting. Like I said, I don't know why I preferred one over the other. It's perhaps Claudia Gray's a better author. Maybe she's a more seasoned author. I think she's been in the writing game for years. I think she's at least 10 years older than Scott, if not more. And, with experience comes, with age and experience comes, increased ability. So that could be all it is. But anyway, I guess I'm not sure I have much more to say other than one thing that makes me feel a little cautious is seeing the cover for Into the Dark. It almost feels like, is this Thane and Sienna again? Is this two characters who are fundamentally different from one another, who have to, like a buddy cop story, or like a sitcom where, these two characters are different, therefore they will interpret the world in different ways and react and respond to things in different ways. Some ways which will be useful, like the cross-pollination between their two personalities will be useful, but then again, isn't that every story to some extent? You throw people together who are different from each other and see how they work their way through a situation. One thing I loved, before I should go because this is getting a little long, one thing I really loved is the fact that despite Sienna and Thane being from the same world, they came from different cultures on the world. And Gray, throughout her books, has shown the ability to really represent culture in an authentic way. And it's not just, these people are from a water world, therefore they all swim or surf or whatever. I don't know, the culture has meaning, and the idea of one's own culture and playing with that, giving it up, sacrificing it, relying on it, it saving you, maybe, I don't know, all comes into play. And it's not like I said, it's not treated one-dimensionally, it's treated with nuance, and I really appreciated that. And I really liked, I really liked the glimpses into the culture we got to see from Jellican, which is the planet that Thane and Sienna come from. And it seemed like a neat place, and I totally got to see how their unique cultures, shape them into the people that they are, among other things. And it was really interesting to see how all that played throughout the book and throughout their lives. And I don't know, I really appreciated it. And it reminded me of, like in Leia, Princess of Alderaan, how we got a glimpse into the culture of Alderaan, and even, I guess, the Imperial, like, Junior Senate type thing, because that's touched on there. Anyway, so being that Into the Dark features a Jedi and a pilot, I bet they're going to be coming from two different worlds, literally or figuratively, however, and that'll probably be interesting. So I guess to kind of wrap it up and put a fine point on it, I think it'll be exciting to see how much insight we get into the culture of the Jedi of the High Republic era just by Claudia Gray doing a YA novel featuring a Jedi from the High Republic era. I bet we'll get a lot of information there, a lot of tidbits, a lot of understanding and insight into how these people function and what they're all about. And I think that'll be exciting. And it'll also be, I think we'll also get a really good glimpse and understanding of how everybody else functions in that world, being, the non-Jedi, the pilot, who the Jedi is going to be paired with. So in summation, I think the High Republic is in pretty good hands so far. With Claudia Gray, number one, and then Cavan Scott. We'll see what his comics are like, because, going from a prose novel to a comic, I don't know how that translates. So, although I do remember reading some Spider-Man novels as a kid in the late 90s that were written by comics authors. So, and those were good as far as I remember. Anyway, I have a whole little spiel for you. So before I do that, I guess I'll let you know that I have here on the Swing Through Comics channel, the YouTube channel, a bunch of Star Wars content that I'm adding to my Marvel Comics coverage. It started off with reviewing Star Wars comics, and then I just kind of spiraled out from there. So I'm covering the Clone Wars Season 7, which is going to be 8 more episodes. At this point, it'll be 12 episodes, so we'll have a playlist for that. I've been covering the comics, and then I've been doing kind of like topical discussions on, I've got one called This Is Why the Jedi Will Fear the Nihil, and it's a speculation video on my part. And then I have this sneak peek at the High Republic series. I don't know who else I'm going to be able to do it with, but I think Scott and Gray were a good start to it, and I might check out some other things and kind of add them to this. But yeah, I'm going to have a playlist for Clone Wars. I'm going to have a playlist for like all my Star Wars videos, and then probably one for all the Star Wars comics as well. And I even have old Star Wars comic reviews from a different channel that I'll port over and release here, because I think that'd be good. And if you're enjoying this Star Wars content from me, hopefully you'll enjoy that stuff too. Before I forget, I will want to know, what are you thinking? Are you looking forward to the High Republic? And if you are looking forward to it or not, both ways, is it because you're familiar with the material from Scott, Older, Gray? Do you like their work? Soul, forgot about Soul. He's another comics guy who's going to be going to a novel, so it'll be interesting to see what he does with that. But let me know what your hopes and fears are for the High Republic era. Are you going to be checking it out? Why or why not? And is that based on the merits of the authors and the creatives or not? Anyway, MJ Love Star Wars can be found on with Swinging Through Comics, like I said, on YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, and mjmunoz.com/STC. Check out mjmunoz.com for more of my work. I have multiple podcasts and original works of fiction there. I'm an aspiring author who will gladly accept your financial support through coffee, or you can buy Star Wars merch from my Redbubble store. Relevant links are in the show notes. If you had a good time, like and share this. Please subscribe to help me grow. Comment to tell me I'm wrong, help me improve, or just talk Star Wars with me. And remember, in balance lies power to hear the dark and walk in light.